afternoon, good evening, regardless of where you are. It's always a great time to study the gospel, enlightened by Spiritism. Today, we're going to review chapter 72 of the book. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, regardless where you are. It's always a great time to study the gospel, enlightened by Spiritism. Today, we're going to study chapter 73 of the book Our Daily Bread by Emmanuel, and which is titled Let Us Learn as Quickly as Possible, which is based in Paul, Colossians chapter 2, verse 6. Before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Kardec Radio for opening up its several platforms for conversations just like this one. So at this time, let's close our eyes or feel as comfortable as we can and say a short prayer, thanking the Lord for all the enlightenment that we receive. Thank you for our family, for our friends, for our home, regardless of where our family is, regardless of who our friends are and where our home is located or what kind of home it is. We're always blessed because there's always so many great things that the universe offers us. So let's be grateful for all of those. And most importantly, let's strive to do the very best that we can based on the opportunities that we receive. So be it. So again, we're going to be discussing chapter 73 of the book, Our Daily Bread. Let us learn as quickly as possible. Based again on Paul, Colossians chapter 2, verse 6. And the passage goes like this. So then, just as you received Christ Jesus as Lord, continue to live in him. So again, Paul is referring to the fact that, hey, if you consider yourself a Christian, if you call yourself a Christian, regardless, in this case, based on our understanding nowadays, regardless of your denomination. So continue to live in him, meaning continue to put into practice those teachings that you received through Christianity, through Christ's lessons, and Christ being our guide and our model. Emmanuel starts the conversation by indicating that among those who refer to Jesus Christ, we can identify two distinct groups: those that know him through information received, and those who have received his benefits. The former received knowledge of the Master through books or in the exhortations of others, but marches toward the situation of the second, who have already received his blessings. To the latter, the gospel should address more emphatically. So we see here that again, how is it that what's your relationship with Jesus? How much do you know? How much of Jesus' teachings have you absorbed? Have you internalized? So again, it can be an intellectual exercise based on the information that we receive by books or teachings from others. But the most important are the ones that recognize that they received the blessings of those teachings. That is the most important group. That's why when Emmanuel indicates here that the latter, they move towards the former, or I should say, the former move towards the latter. And especially if you have lived, if you have recognized the benefits that that the gospel offers to you, then those teachings, then they touch you more emphatically. It really hits home because again, you've experienced the blessings, the benefits, the advantages, and all the goodness that those teachings offer to you. And many continues indicating that how do we find the Lord in our journey throughout the world? That's a very interesting question because being reincarnated on Earth is a journey. It's and by the way, our period of reincarnation on Earth, they're very short. May it be a few hours, a few months, a few years, decades. It doesn't matter because since we are eternal souls, eternal spirits, whatever period of time, it's insignificant compared to eternity. But at any rate, whatever experiences we have here, they are part of our journey. They are part of the teachings that we need to experience, as indicated here by Emmanuel. Emmanuel continues. Sometimes his divine presence is manifested through the solution of a difficult human problem. In this case, improved health. In the return of a loved one, the spontaneous renovation of a path so that new illuminating light can instill better reasoning. So these are actually some examples here that we can see that, hey, um, so the Lord's presence in our life has been manifested by some good things that come in our way. For instance, if we're ill now, our health has been restored, then we can recognize we can only not only not just we cannot just recognize the action of the health professionals, but also especially the blessings, the spiritual health the spiritual help that came to us in our moment of need. In the same way, return of a loved one, when a loved one was away for different reasons. If a loved one was estranged, if a loved one had, for whatever reason, to be absent from our lives, then the return. And also in this case, also the return from through reincarnation as well, because we're all passengers here on Earth. So hopefully, those who passed away before us, you know, we might meet those again, either in this reincarnation or in a future reincarnation. And here in the spontaneous renovation of path, so that new illuminating light can still better reasoning. And again, as our life renovates, as something new happens, and so that through those experiences, then we see life with a new light. We see everything with a better reasoning. So these renovations in our lives, in our paths, they they might be either joyful or not. But again, regardless of the circumstance, the most important thing is, okay, how is it that it's going to be? I need to rationalize and not only rationalize, but most importantly, internalize how that experience will serve to illuminate my life and provide me with better wisdom. Emmanuel continues indicating here that there are many informed people with respect to Jesus, and many have already absorbed his saving grace. So, yeah, so many people, many people have learned about Jesus, have studied the gospel, and many people have absorbed this grace. Many people have internalized those teachings. It is indispensable, however, that those who have received benefits from Christ and have experienced the happiness in the blessing also feel the same pleasure in the work and in their testimony of faith. So again, if I feel blessing by the teachings of Christianity, if I feel blessed by the teachings of Spiritism, so there is happiness in the blessing, but most importantly, I need to put that teaching into work to help others and to do an impact in the universe, a positive impact in the lives of others. And also there are moments of testimony as well. There are tough situations. We live in a world of trials and tribulations. So there are challenges in our lives, both during, especially, especially while we are reincarnated, because Earth for us at this time is our school. Since we're still inferior spirits, we have to go through these different experiences. So we need to feel blessed and have pleasure in the work, and also feel blessed when we go through difficulties, because those difficulties, like we mentioned before, those difficulties, they only serve to give us wisdom and enlightenment. The menu continues indicating that it will not be enough to be saturated with blessings. It is necessary that we do our part in collaborating in the service of the gospel, attentive to its sanctifying program. Again, it's not just enough for me to be receiving, to have all these blessings channeled towards me. Next question is what I'm going to make with those, what I'm going to do with the teachings, with the blessings, with the enlightenment, with the positive energy that I'm being receiving. So again, I should do my part to collaborate in the service of the gospel. And not only that, but also pay attention in opportunities to sanctify myself, in opportunities for me to improve. There's always room for improvement because we're still very imperfect spirits. So, what is it, those aspects of me that I need to change? And it's important also to note here that those changes they happen slowly because nothing in the universe um, takes drastic steps. Everything happens at the proper pace. And the same thing, our evolution as well happens at a particular pace. So we should never feel frustrated when we confront our own imperfections. On the contrary, we should celebrate the fact that we make mistakes because those mistakes allow us to identify those weak points and help us work hard and improve ourselves. Emmanuel finalizes this chapter indicating that tedious repetition and useless activities can be particular to spirits that are not well informed. So he's talking about rituals. So any kind of ritualistic activity and repetitious repetition. So ceremonies basically, and it in any belief there is a risk in any belief system for us to be tied up in that. Any kind of um, uh, it happens, but happens to any Christian, any Muslim, any Buddhist, and Jew, and et cetera, et cetera. So, regardless of our belief system, there's always this risk that we might be so in tune into rituals, so in tune to the external, that we might forget about the external. So, like in the manual indicates to us here that, okay, that's a particular action for spirits that are not well informed. But we know better. We're better informed. We know how to act better. And he continues here indicating that, however, we who have already received the infinite mercy of the Lord should learn as soon as possible to adapt ourselves to his sublime designs. So, again, if we've already received the teachings of the gospel, I should know better. I should stay away from ritualistic activities, ritualistic practices, and on the and I should divert my energy to action. So I should divert my energy again to be able to also to distribute the blessings to my brothers and sisters, and just like Emmanuel indicates here, as soon as possible to adapt ourselves to his sublime designs, to be part of God's sublime designs, of God's incredible um, work of art, masterpiece. What is the universe? Everybody have an opportunity to contribute and make the universe a better place for us and for others. That's our conversation for today. I hope you liked it. So at this moment, let's close our eyes again or take whatever action that you think is comfortable for you. And thank Jesus for all the teachings that we receive. And may we apply those. May we have the wisdom to put in practice everything that we learn in Christianity or from any belief system that we have embraced. May we identify our our actions that need to be improved, that need to be corrected, and also identify those aspects in our daily lives in which we are doing what's right, so that we can not only continue performing those actions, but especially even improving those. We are all imperfect, but the great news is that we're destined for perfection, and it happens one step at a time. So be it.